but I'm not going to say a word, but I will say one thing right now. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? And welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jayden May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco. How are we doing tonight, Quentin?
You know, you sent me a message earlier. It really made me think. We are on quite opposite ends of the spectrum this season.
Yeah, you as an Eagles fan, it's got to suck. I mean, back-to-back weeks of almost losing to like mid-level mediocre teams, but squeaking out wins and being in the same division as the mighty and powerful Dallas Cowboys. It's gotta be brutal for you as an Eagles fan.
It's tough, man. It's the hard knock life.
Yeah, and you used to be a fan of another team, but I think they got relegated.
They're close. I mean, they're hanging on for dear life. I hear they're calling a mustachioed man from England, some soccer coach, to come over and help them out.
Yeah, I mean, last I checked, I think Georgia got the call that was like, "Hey, you might be promoted, so like, just keep your head on a swivel."
Yeah. But my bad. Yeah. Keeping the head on the swivel. I did not catch what you said. I was trying to change the title because I just realized we had this titled NFL Week 2 still.
It is not week 2. It is week 3.
Yes, it is.
I have a question for you as a Bears fan. Are we on Caleb Williams' watch? Or is USC your favorite team in sports right now?
I mean, if we're not on Caleb Williams' watch yet, it's the hour is nigh. Like, we are right there.
Because
personally,
nothing has looked good for the Bears, and that includes once very promising Justin Fields. And he's shown a little bit, but he's shown a lot of bit that he's not it, which makes me sad because I love Justin Fields.
It should make everyone sad. It is a sad, sad moment. Like, I mean, it is. I am at such a weird place as a fan right now. I am legitimately upset with the Bears over this. Like, it sucks. Yeah. It just sucks. So you destroyed a great QB prospect potentially. I'm giving him to like week 6, week 7 before I'm like really.
We're in year 3.
But
we're in year 3. They have done nothing to help him, really. It looked like they went out and did some things in the offseason to help him, but the coaching looks abysmal. But we're looking at the future right now. You have two first round picks. Your own should be very good with what we've seen in the first 2 weeks, and Carolina doesn't look very strong either. So maybe, I mean, you get Caleb Williams and you do all the right things, and it's dynasty season after this. I mean, Big Cat.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They destroy quarterbacks. I mean,
Big Cat.
And to the Justin Fields thing, they've given him enough help this year. It's just it might be too far gone. It might be too far gone. It's just like it is just blood boiling.
Big Cat is famous for saying that if the Bears would have taken Patrick Mahomes, he would have got hit by a bus the second day in Chicago.
Yeah, second he walked out of O'Hare.
But yeah, I love me some Bears, man, and I feel like you're on the right track. That track may be moving slow. It may take a long time to get there, but hey, man, if we're on Caleb Williams' watch, like Caleb Williams is a top 10 NFL quarterback right now at USC. So
yeah, and so he'll fall down to like 11th or 12th in Chicago. I guarantee it.
He'll be right there with Dak Prescott and Josh Allen.
Yeah, he'll be in that Kirk Cousins level of good.
Kirk Cousins is balling, boy.
Yeah, every year since 2014 or something like that.
Balling. Yeah, I mean, a lot more success than any Chicago quarterback's ever had.
Well, yeah, clearly. I mean, look at it. Look at me.
Hey, you always get Dick Butkus, though. Best name in sports history.
We will always have linebackers.
That's such a nice jersey you got behind you, man.
I know. It's outstanding.
Love it. All right. So, week 2, We can just do a quick breakdown. Cowboys are the best team in the league. Eagles might suck. Jalen Hurts might suck. But the NFC Beast is a one-loss division right now. That's pretty good.
Pretty darn good, man. I mean,
The only loss is within the division as well.
I'm kind of low-key. I'm kind of regretting that we're not sleeping on the Commanders because
Yeah.
they're showing me
I mean,
something.
But against who? Like, they almost lost to the Cardinals.
I was about to say, I don't even remember who they played last week. I just know they look good.
Like, they're technically winning. And we knew the defense was going to be good. But
Yeah.
this brings me back to a thing I'd mentioned to you before the podcast. Is this the year of the defense? I think there's a lot of good defenses this year. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, even the Chiefs defense looks really, really good. Commanders defense looks good. Atlanta's defense is opportunistic, and if they can slow down the big plays, Atlanta could have a very good defense. I think the Saints defense is pretty good. The Steelers defense with that defensive line looks really, really good. The Eagles still have a lot of depth at that defensive line. They've lost some linebacker and DB talent, but still a very good defense. Jacksonville's defense hasn't looked terrible. I mean, some of these top teams in the league, not even top teams in the league, but some of the contenders. I mean, this is some of the best defensive football we've seen in years, I think.
Ultimately, I think because you're right, it is, but I think it's really the result of quarterbacks. Like we've seen last few years, we've seen some quarterbacks retire, go out. Like whether it's injured this year with Aaron Rodgers, we lost Tom Brady this off season. Drew Brees, what 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
and a lot of quarterbacks
like,
we expected to make the jump haven't made the jump.
Yeah, like being
Josh
a
Allen
top 10 quarterback right now is not worthy of the
Hard to
title of
do.
a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah,
It's like top 8, top 7. That's where you want to be.
Josh Allen hasn't made that jump that we expected him to make. Joe Burrow hasn't sustained what he was last year, but also last year he looked terrible in week 1 and 2, and then just routed off 14 games. So with Burrow, at least he has a history of doing this. But
yeah, I think it's a little early to hit the panic button on guys who are proven like that. But like,
what about Jalen?
Burrow,
Okay, so you as an Eagles fan, what do you think about Jalen Hurts? Because he hasn't looked good, and this isn't me as a Cowboys fan, but I mean, Jalen Hurts hasn't looked good so far.
I'm still a believer. Like I've always been a believer that Jalen Hurts is a fine player. He can be a good quarterback, but he has a ceiling.
So is Josh Allen,
and Josh Allen has no ceiling, sir.
I'm gonna get you on this Josh Allen train one of these days. So Jalen Hurts or Dak? This is everybody debates Jalen Hurts. I think they're the same player, but everybody in NFC East mentions on Twitter it's always Jalen Hurts, Dak. Jalen Hurts, Dak. I think they're the same guy.
I think they're a lot closer than Eagles fan would want to admit. If I'm being completely honest, I think Dak Prescott with that surrounding cast is probably a much better pocket passer than Jalen Hurts, and you don't need to cater the offense as much to him. But he's not the threat with the legs.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the quarterback goes, I mean, I don't think it's really debatable, or I guess it is probably heavily debatable. But I would say Dak is a much better passer, and he's proven it. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a good season last year, but I mean, if you didn't have the Bush push with Jalen Hurts, like how good of a quarterback would he be if you like? I'm not an advocate to change that rule. I mean, I think if you can get all your best guys to push 1 yard and you have a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds, by all means. I mean, that's football at its core to me. So I don't care about that. But I'm saying if it wasn't for that, like how many times would the Eagles would have had to punt or try something else?
Yeah, I mean, their game plan would be different, though. Like, they wouldn't
obviously
be catering to 3-yard gains on 3rd and 4,
No, obviously. But at the same time, I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, it's basically 100% success rate. I think the only time they got stopped was on a 3rd and 1, and they immediately did it again on 4th down and got it. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's a good question because, like, I I think Dak would really thrive with that Eagles offense that Hurts had last year and this year. Like, I think he would. Obviously, the scheme would be different, but like having those two pass catchers in that offensive line, it's a lot to work with.
Yeah. Speaking about the NFC East, what are we thinking about the Giants? We had a Giants guy on in the offseason. He seemed really high on him. Saquon, maybe. Is Saquon out for the season? A couple of weeks?
I don't think it's for the season. I didn't catch what the injury was, but
I know he's definitely out for a little bit of time. But
yeah,
what are we thinking about the Giants? I mean, come from behind win against a Cardinals team that is playing. I mean, they're playing. They're not just frisky. I mean, they're playing. They haven't won.
Yeah,
they're playing.
Yeah, they'll. I think they'll peter out at some point, but then I don't know. Like the 0-16 Cleveland Browns years ago, like they had like 12 one-score games or something.
Frisky till the end.
Same with like the 0-16 Lions. They were just like always in it, and they just like could never win.
Yeah, I mean, I you gotta be happy for Josh Dobbs because I mean, he's putting a resume together to be like the next Chase Daniel, to where it's like he might not be your guy, but I mean he could turn this into a 12-year career and make $60 million.
Yeah, if you can get a backup quarterback who has spent a full season as a starter, but understands that they're not a starter in the NFL, that's really valuable.
Chase Daniel, Colt McCoy. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some value there. So I love what he's doing with his resume. I like Josh Dobbs out of Tennessee. I think does he have alopecia or does he just not have hair?
I think he has alopecia. But you asked about the Giants though, and then I converted it to the Cardinals. The Giants, I mean, I was expecting regression for Brian Daboll's team. Honestly, it reminded me a lot of the 2018 Bears. Like not the defensive side of it, but the offensive side of it. Like we catered this offense to
also on a very easy schedule,
and an easy schedule, and you're just gonna see regression from that because I don't think the team was ever as talented as their performance was last year.
Yeah,
but I don't think they're as bad as Week 1. I don't think they're as bad as everyone thinks they are for almost losing Cardinals.
I said to everybody after that game, I was like, "This isn't indicative on the Giants at all." I think the Cowboys played a perfect game in Week 1. I don't think the Cowboys can do that every week, but that just put the league on watch of how good the Cowboys can be, and the Giants played bad. So I don't think the Cowboys are as good as they played in Week 1, but I also don't think the Giants are as bad as they played in Week 1. And I think they're a fine team. And in this NFC right now, the way it looks, I mean, I still think the Giants might be able to squeak into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean it's the NFC,
But
wide open, man.
Talking about the NFC East, I as much as I just said the Cowboys aren't as good as they played in Week 1, how fucking good are these Cowboys?
They're fucking good, man. I mean, they might be the best roster in the NFL. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we talked about in the offseason with the depth they have at defense. I mean, and you look at O-line depth, and which they don't have, but what is there? Maybe one or two teams that maybe have O-line depth. I mean, if that's the weakest part of your roster, you're looking pretty good. And we have a legit 2 weeks in. Granted, 2 weeks in, we have probably the most legitimate MVP candidate on the defensive side of the ball since 2012 JJ Watt.
Yeah, I mean Parsons is unreal, man. Like, I mean, I was just thinking about this the other morning for some reason after I woke up.
There hasn't been a quarterback that has shown anything.
I mean, I was just thinking about it.
Ahead.
I was just thinking about it with Parsons the other day. Like, it's like a Reggie White or like a Lawrence Taylor level talent Watt that you just don't see come in the league. I wouldn't even put. I don't even put him in the same conversation. Like JJ Watt was incredible. He was amazing, but I don't think that he's on the Reggie White or the Lawrence Taylor level.
if we're putting Micah Parsons above prime JJ Watt, I mean, we're talking about a top 3 defensive player of all time.
That's where he's trending, man. I mean, you
Goodness
walk
gracious.
into the league.
Don't get me
and
excited.
do what he's done.
Don't you get
You
me
are
excited.
that guy. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's on that level. Like that's where he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's fucking phenomenal. And you look at this defensive line, some of the guys in that rotation, Sam Williams, Osa Odigizui, not really as much DeMarcus Lawrence, but because he's a top paid guy. But you look at some of these guys putting up stats, like there's already guys on the team that were on the team last year that have already doubled their sack total from last year. It's crazy, like how these guys are feasting. And I haven't looked at the stats closely, but I'm pretty sure the Dallas defensive line is getting sacks on like 95% of the snaps that Micah Parsons has doubled. So it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do?
All you can do, man. I was hyped up about the Mozzie Smith pick for it, like just because it added the beef they needed in the middle to let Odigizua eat, and then you are
Odigizua not even playing middle. They're playing
right to let him go where he needs to eat.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying. You can't.
Yeah.
He's not just stuck there.
But
Hankins has
been playing well. Hankins has been playing well in that inside. Like he looks everybody looks reinvigorated.
Probably because he's playing a few less snaps because he's got a guy who can actually go out there and play starter snaps.
You look at the DB position and Stephon Gilmore. Like I haven't really watched him too closely these past couple of years, but that dude, like I know he's been a ball hawk. I mean he's a former defensive player of the year. He was at one time one of the best defensive players in the league. But this dude is like coming up on run plays and bringing the hat as a 14-year veteran.
Dude wants a ring.
Does he not have one?
He wants another one.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he got one in New England, but
at least one. He might have got 2.
Yeah.
But you want to get to our results from week 2?
Absolutely. You can run through them real quick. I don't have them in front of me.
Yeah, I got them. So you went 3-3, up 0.6 units on the week, which puts you on the season 6-7 and down a half unit.
Yeah, I had my 2-unit play, so that helped.
Yeah, I also went 3-3, down 0.2 units. I'm at break even on the season at 6-6, so I've hit 2 plus money lines that have gotten me to just flat even. And then on college, let's see here.
Also an asterisk for this last weekend.
You are 11-5 and up 5.8 units. You were up 0.7 units last weekend.
I'll take that asterisk. I'll count myself even.
Yeah, and then I was 10-7 on the season plus 2.4 units. I went 3-2 this past weekend, and
maybe we're just college football savants.
Dude, I think the last 2 seasons we both done better on college than NFL. So,
well, a lot more games to pick from.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more for realistically. It's the same with college basketball. Like there's just a lot more data for them to parse, and a lot more chances that they miss something.
I can't convince my wife to let me watch college basketball. I watch Big 12 basketball, and that's hard enough. But if as soon as football season was over, I was watching college basketball 7 nights a week, I might be a single man.
Yeah. As soon as football season ends, I'm like, I have to take a sabbatical from sports and get my life together. So
I have to watch 3 months of murder docs and rom-coms after football's over. So.
All right, so let's get into the picks.
All right, let's get into these picks. Well, we'll start out this week with, what are we starting with? New York Giants versus San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so little background. Giants stayed on the West Coast. They were on the West Coast. They stayed on the West Coast. They're getting that notorious BIG, going to
back to
Cali, back to
Cali.
Yeah. And San Fran is
10.5 favorites.
Yeah, 10.
Not a short week.
Yeah, no, I was getting them mixed up. That's why I paused. Go ahead with it.
So 10-point spread here. Every major running back is getting injured in the NFL. Giants got a good defensive line. The San Fran didn't look great against the Rams early on, and the Rams don't really have a whole lot of talent. They're getting coached out of their ass. That Rams team looks good right now, but I think this Giants team is frisky, and I think they can keep this game close. Give me the Giants plus 10 in this game. Basically, Christian McCaffrey is the X factor. If Christian McCaffrey can get going, I think they can blow this game open. But if they can limit Christian McCaffrey from getting that big play, I think Brandon Ayuk is injured, and he's that big play threat. Deebo Samuel has been kind of lackluster ever since he signed that big contract. He hasn't done a whole lot. He had a couple big plays last week, but in totality, he hasn't really proven his worth since he signed that contract. So give me a hungry Giants team without Saquon at plus 10 in this situation.
I think there's something there. I mean, I think because they stayed there,
number.
I like them a little more too. Like
that
you get rid of the jet lag, you get rid of like the circadian rhythm stuff that like when you're, going over.
Circadian.
Yeah, circadian, not Arcadian. What am I talking about? But yeah, because it's Thursday night, right?
Is this a Thursday night? I think it is Thursday night game.
Okay, so that's where I got short week from, because they're both on short weeks. And usually the home team is who you want on the short week, like the Thursday night games.
But double digit in the NFL. I mean, I'm taking a double digit favorite later on, but
right.
Yeah.
And with them being the staying on the West Coast, that levels out some of that advantage. And also, East Coast teams typically bet against them going west, right? Because especially night games, their circadian rhythm, not Arcadian.
Here we go, boy.
Circadian
There we
rhythm.
go.
They're starting the game at like 10 p.m. for what they're used to on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Or 11 p.m. or something like that. And
but it's also prime time. It's prime like Thursday night games, Sunday night games, they're always the same time for prime time. So
Jay, it's a game of inches.
It's a game of inches. Okay, I'm with you there. But you with me or not here?
I'm not betting it, but I'm leaning Giants to cover.
Let's go. Danny Dimes and the boys are going to get it done plus 10.5. All right, next up we have a game that Q loves here. It's the Buffalo football team going against the Washington Red Commander Skins.
So
what is the line on this game?
6.5.
6.5. Washington favorite, right?
No.
Oh, that's
Buffalo
surprising.
Favorite. Yeah,
that's
very surprising. After that dominant performance we saw from the Commies last week. I mean, I like the Commies this year, man. I got a feeling about them.
Hey, we talked about not sleeping on them.
Left hand raised, man. Born that way. Left hand raised.
I mean, you're basically a Commander fan there in Philly. You're like a couple miles away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just a hop, skip, and a jump. Compared to the South United States, where you have to drive 300 miles to the next closest team.
Yeah,
I can basically say you're a fan of 16 different teams in the Northeast.
Oh, they're all a skip away.
They're all bunched in.
So I'm taking I'm taking the Commies
Commanders.
plus 6.5. I mean,
I don't blame you.
Buffalo, I think 6.5 is a big number for
Josh
what
Allen's
we've
not
seen
good
from these two teams. I mean, I think that Washington is going to be able to get after Josh Allen, get him a little rattled, get him playing a little hectic like we've seen him so far, like tend to be so far this season. And I'm just not sure that there's the skill position talent in Buffalo to overcome that. And I really like Washington's secondary. I think I'm really going to be able to do some damage there. Or Washington's defense to be able to do some be able to limit Buffalo's offense pretty well. Yeah. And I can see Washington just taking this game away on the ground. Like, I don't know if I'm not sitting here taking Washington money line, but for them to be 6.5 point dogs here, and I got to say, I hate the number. I hate betting plus 6.5. I wish I could get it at 7. I can't, but I like this game enough to just do it. Washington at home, that just makes sense to me.
I agree 100%. I'm not taking that game, but I'm with you there. Next game we have here is the Houston Football Texans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston's at home as 9-point underdogs, I believe. Unless no.
Yeah, that's right.
Houston's going to Jacksonville.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I was listening to the.
So
spread.
CJ Stroud has had no offensive line. He is getting hit every opportunity he gets, but he's throwing like 40 passes a game, throwing up 400 yards a game. I think we could be in a shootout possibility here. So give me the Texans +9. Nico Collins is looking good. Tank Dell looking good. Hopefully John Mechie gets going. Dalton Schultz, let's get him going. Like, let's get these running backs going in Houston. Like, why not? Like, let's cover 9. CJ Stroud's a dog, dude. Like, he's on pace to shatter the rookies, or not even the rookie sack record, just the sack record in general. Like, on pace to absolutely shatter it. And the dude's still going out there and throwing for 400 yards a game. Like, give me the Texans in a backdoor cover here +9 at Jacksonville.
So I wanted to take this, like I really did, and I like the bet. And you're probably going to win it because of this, because it's the first time I haven't taken the Texans all year, but I've just lost 2 straight weeks on them, and both times they just had a hard time getting the football in the end zone. Like,
this team,
you get all the yards you want, you can't get in the end zone. You can't get in the end zone.
This team is built for backdoor covers.
They got to get in the end zone to backdoor, man.
What'd they score last week?
Like I said, I like the bet, and I kind of want to take it, but I can't get burned 3 weeks in a row because they can't score touchdowns. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, they need one receiver that can be the guy.
Nico Collins went off last week, but
no, he was good. They need that. Like, Nico Collins would be the perfect complement to a number 1 receiver.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't mean that as he's a number 1. I just meant he put up numbers, and he was one of our fantasy sleepers. So remember that, fantasy football fans.
CJ Stroud is looking like everything we promised you in the offseason as well. Like, if you're a Houston fan, I don't think you can watch this team and be upset that you drafted CJ Stroud. You don't have a single offensive lineman left in your starting rotation right now, and the dude's still out there balling.
Hey, Jarrett Patterson's my dude. Okay.
All right. So next up, we have Atlanta and Detroit. The Dirty Birds versus the Lions. These two teams have probably been the most controversial teams on this podcast since we started 4 years ago. We have the Dirty Birds in Detroit. What's the line here, and what do you got?
I don't even know what the line, or it's 3 or 3.5, depending on your book.
Total.
I have it at 3, but I think Jay said it was 3.5 at his book. If it was 3.5, I would have taken Atlanta plus 3.5. I don't like it enough to take it at 3, so I moved on over to the total at 46.5. I'm taking over. Detroit, Gardner Johnson out for this game. Atlanta, I believe, lost a defender or 2 last week, and I mean, hell, they just gave up 30 points to Jordan Love and the Packers. Like, they're not the defense. I'm not seeing a defense that I'm scared of. They can get turnovers.
What are we thinking about Jordan Love this part in the season? You want to take a little sidestep?
Okay, sure. Jordan Love showed you exactly what he is in the last 2 minutes of the game against Atlanta.
So hold on. They had a 10-point lead in 4 possessions and never got a first down.
Yeah. I mean, so when Matt LaFleur can't, I'm trying to think of the right word, can't cradle him, he's not, there's not a lot that he's really gonna do. He doesn't improvise well. He doesn't live in the moment.
You think the Bears game was an anomaly, and the early part of they had a great game plan going into Atlanta, but when push came to shove, they can't get it done? Because that's what I think.
I don't even think it was an anomaly. I think you'll see he's Jimmy Garoppolo. He's gonna do well when everything is right, but when everything's not right,
but Jordan Love can run. So Jimmy Garoppolo with legs,
can he though? He's not.
He had some good runs against Atlanta.
he's okay. Like he's got better speed than Garoppolo, but I wouldn't say that he's much of a threat either.
So is Josh Allen.
No, Josh Allen's fast, bro. Josh Allen can move.
I'm gonna get you one of these days.
But
I
anyways,
was setting all that up to say that. So
back to Atlanta and Detroit. I think we see scoring. I think we see a lot of scoring. Atlanta, I feel like Atlanta always goes over 50.
Frisky.
Their games are just constantly over 50. And I haven't fact checked that, so you can make me look like a fool if you really want to. But like,
also,
this just seems like such an easy play to me.
Also on this game, we were talking about overs. The Lions can't give the ball to David Montgomery anymore. He's hurt. He's gone. He's out.
Exactly.
He's out at least 4
It's
weeks.
Gibbs time.
They have to give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. So they're bound to score more points.
So my one concern here was like, man, AJ Terrell's good. They don't really have any dangerous receivers outside of Mon-Ra, so I was kind of like, that
Josh
part
Reynolds.
worries me. Yeah, Josh Reynolds is super dangerous.
2 touchdowns last week.
Hey, man, the production's there. I'll give you that, but I don't think many D coordinators are that worried about Josh Reynolds.
Jared Goff might be the MVP front runner behind Micah Parsons right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Better than Josh Allen.
But over 46.5, just makes sense. Falcons score points, Detroit scores points.
Yeah, I mean,
And this game's going to be weird. This game's going to be weird.
You don't have to say much to convince me of an over, boy.
Yeah, I know. I've been on the overs this year, and I hate it, but I have.
All right, next up here we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Minnesota Vikings. The total is 54 in this game. What is the spread? Do you have it?
I do not. I want to say it was like 2.
Okay, I can look it up real quick. If you want to talk about it, I can look at I have the total here.
Yeah, so I almost took the spread. This is another game. It's kind of like Atlanta Detroit. It's just gonna be kind of weird.
So it's a push 'em right now in my book. Chargers Vikings. It's Chargers -1 at -110 and Minnesota +1 at -115. So it's basically a pick 'em.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the over.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm not on the over. What am I saying? I'm on LA Chargers money line. Both these
I'm on
teams
the over.
are 0-2. Both these teams are desperate for a win. I think the more talented team gets that win, even though it's in Minnesota. Tough place to play.
You think the Chargers the
think
more talented
that-
team out of this?
I don't think it's that close.
Kellen Moore's not good.
What does Kellen Moore have to do with talent?
He's part of the talent.
No, I'm talking on the field talent.
On-field talent.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I think the coaching talent of Minnesota gets this done. If I was taking a side on this game, I'd take Minnesota. But I'm taking over 54 because I don't think either one of these teams can stop a nosebleed at this point. Khalil Mack looks old. Joey Bosa doesn't look great. Derwin James looks good, but
So
J.C. Jackson looks frustrated and angry and makes stupid mistakes.
yeah,
I think
J.C. Jackson sucks. He needs to be benched again. Like he's just
I think
that signing
What
made
is it?
no sense.
back-to-back weeks where he had multiple personal foul penalties. Yeah, I mean, I think Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison can eat in this game, and I don't think the Vikings defense can stop anybody. I'm taking over 54 in this game, and I love it.
I mean, I thought about the over in this too, but in fact, so much so I thought I had the over, not the money line. But I went with the money line because plus money. Vikings don't really have a strong rush attack.
Yeah,
The real
Alexander
weakness-
Madison's not good.
The real weakness of the Chargers defense is that they don't have a defensive tackle on their roster, so they can't stop the run. But if they're playing a team that can't really run the football, I start to like them a lot more. And I just think Minnesota, Brian Flores is playing a high risk game considering their cornerback talent. I just don't know that they'll be able to contain it.
Have we seen a dominant? When I say dominant, I mean like top 5 defensive player in the league drop off as much as we've seen the drop off from Khalil Mack? Like he's not bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
he's nowhere close to a dominant. Like he's a fine guy now,
yeah, he is not what he was in Chicago. There's
or what he
nowhere
was in
close.
Oakland.
Yeah. And really, I think it was probably more predictable than people let on, myself included. Like he was always a power rusher more than first, and that it takes a toll on your body. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have the flexibility he used to, and that flexibility with the power used to be how he wiggled out of spots and through spots and just
And it's
doesn't
not like
bring
he's
the
old
same
yet.
explosive punch that he
What
used
is,
to.
what is he? Year 9? It's not like he's old.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
he's not young by any means.
he's
but-
old enough to lose some explosiveness.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, most of the time when you see dominant, like to the point where like he was getting MVP conversations
Yeah.
when he was in Chicago, to the
Yeah.
point where he's just a middle of the pack defensive player from year 5 to year 9. Like you don't really see that on defense. You see it on offense.
On the
you
on
see
the
guys
edge.
lose a step.
on the edge,
But-
those guys usually aren't power rushers.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, on the edge, the power rushers they will stick around the league for forever, but their dominant days, as far as pass rush goes,
So is
don't
that
tend
the
to
best?
stick.
Is that
Their
the
run
best move?
defense, their run defense tends to stick. Like he's still a really good run defender,
Yeah.
but again, the problem is the Chargers don't have a single defensive tackle on their roster.
So is that the best move Chicago's made in the past decade? Is moving on before they had to pay him a second time?
Maybe I don't know if the Bears have made a single good move in the last decade, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, is that the best move you've made, other than trading?
yeah, DJ Moore's
Carolina.
yeah, the DJ Moore
Carolina
one
trade.
pick trade is probably the best. But if I'm being completely honest, I'd still put the trade for Mac ahead of the trading away Mac, just because it was perfect time, perfect place. That's
Yeah,
like
I mean, imagine if you had like a guy like Patrick Mahomes in that
Yeah.
situation. Like,
I mean
know
that
it
was a
I know it was never possible for the Bears to have Patrick Mahomes. Like, there was never a scenario where they could have had him. But in an alternate universe, like if they would have somehow like been in the position to get Patrick Mahomes and Khalil Mack, like imagine. But that was never possible.
no, never could have happened.
Yeah.
Because we already went over this. He would have gotten hit by a bus as he walked out of O'Hare.
Yeah. I mean, nobody talks about the fact that Patrick Mahomes didn't drive a 1992 Toyota Camry to the combine. Nobody talks about that.
Nope.
So,
That's the most important thing in QB scouting. What car do they drive?
yeah. I mean, just ask Matt Nagy.
Well, to be fair, Matt Nagy wasn't there yet.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because Matt Nagy wanted Patrick Mahomes
Yeah, Matt Nagy
It's on
is a big
record.
reason why Mahomes is in Kansas
in
City.
Kansas City, and Matt Nagy's future Super Bowl winner for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, no one wants to see me cry on air, Jaden.
All right, moving on. So I have the over in that game. You have LA Chargers money line, correct?
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to the Tennessee Titans versus Cleveland Cavaliers. I have what is 3-point spread on this game. Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-point favorites at home. Give me the Titans +3 here. Deshaun Watson is not good. And when I say he's not good, I actually mean he's not good. A lot of times when I talk about QBs on this podcast, I embellish a little bit. I think Deshaun Watson might just be bad. And no Nick Chubb. We're talking about one of the best coach teams in the league with the Titans, who always play close and frisky games. They're not going to lose. The Titans aren't going to lose on X's and O's. And I don't think without a Nick Chubb and with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, the Browns can beat the Titans on skill alone. So give me the Titans +3 here.
I'm not sure the Titans have lost a game by more than 3 since like 1977.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how. Because that team is just like Derrick Henry and
Just pieced together with scotch
the
tape.
skeleton of DeAndre Hopkins and Jeffrey Simmons and like Auden, or no, what's his name? They have another, the other defensive tackle that they have. Oh God, what's his name?
Jeffrey
Dumbass.
Simmons.
Yeah, another Jeffrey Simmons. The two.
Oh,
Jeffrey
you
Simmons.
said Jeffrey Simmons?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the other guy.
one.
Yeah, the other Jeffrey Simmons they have. I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's
I
like
know.
that's their squad. Oh, and somehow Kevin Byard is still amazing.
Oh, I was about
After,
to say
like,
the
a
exact same
decade.
thing. I was about to say, and also Kevin Byard is still a beast.
Yeah, and like the rest of it is just like Mike Vrabel's sheer will to win games.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson's not good. I don't understand. Like 3 points isn't a whole lot. Whenever you're a team as talented as the Titans, going to a team on paper like the Browns, but with no Nick Chubb, I don't know what they do in this game. I mean, Amari Cooper is kind of playing through an injury right now. Deshaun Watson looks like absolute dog shit. Myles Garrett is great, but
So
give me
what
the
if
Titans +3 all day.
what if instead of just like trying to do the same thing with Jerome Ford, what if Kevin Stefanski just said, "Nah, Deshaun Watson was pretty good. With the spread concepts that Bill O'Brien had him running in Houston. Let's just spread this thing out and let it fly." And then Deshaun Watson is suddenly like good again. Like, what if that's what happens? I mean, I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to suddenly find it, but I am curious if you start putting him back in spread concepts, like putting him in empty in the backfield, not trying to build your entire identity around pounding the rock like Kevin Stefanski does. Like his offense is entirely built around Nick Chubb being really good and having a monstrous offensive line. So I can't blame him for leaning into that. But Deshaun Watson was pretty good when he didn't have a rushing attack behind him. He was
let
like,
Deshaun Watson cook.
yeah,
It could work. I mean, they have way more talent than Houston had when Deshaun Watson was running wild in Houston. So
but they run a scheme that's entirely based on running the football and him being a timing passer, and he's not a timing based player. You know, he's more of a schoolyard type of thrower. Like, I think that there could be something there of putting him back in a spread style offense and letting him just go.
So what does Cleveland do this offseason? Because Kevin Stefanski is probably, if not the best coach they've ever had. Deshaun Watson was once a good quarterback. But Deshaun Watson is also like, you're committed to him for at least the next 2 years. And Stefanski, I guess, can technically be replaced. But do you move on with the best coach in franchise history for a guy that was once good, that missed a couple of season and a half for questionable issues because you're committed to him on the salary? Like, that is the absolute worst situation to be in as a sports fan, because you don't know if Deshaun Watson can go back to what he was in Houston, but you do know that Stephen Kavansky. I don't know why I can't get this name right, but you do know that Stefanski is at least a top 15 coach in the league. Like, I almost feel like if you move on, it would be better just to move on from both than to keep one or the other. Because if you keep one or the other, you're just going to split the fan base. But at the same time, they don't work well together.
I've got my response. I mean, if either way, I think if they're not getting to where they need to at the end of this year, which is like winning a playoff game at least, and Watson looking pretty solid through the late part of the season, Stefanski is gone, And because I have this guaranteed contract in this quarterback, I need a head
Yeah.
coach who can make him work, right? Who can make it work with him.
You hope that you can make it work.
So if
We don't
I'm
even
the
know what we
GM,
have with Deshaun Watson at this point.
you don't, but you need to
Gotta try.
try. If I'm the GM, I'm going and hiring Bill O'Brien.
I was just
Easy as that.
Kingsbury.
No, if I'm the GM and I need to save my job, I am hiring Bill O'Brien.
But
Because
then
if
Bill O'Brien
anyone
would
can
just
get him back
Bill
to
O'Brien-
what he did,
Bill
it's
O'Brien would walk into the building and fire you and just assume the GM job.
that might be true. I didn't think about that. You got me. But if I'm
no,
the
Bill O'Brien,
owner-
like you hear from any ex-Texans players the praise they have for Bill O'Brien. And don't get me wrong, like until Bill O'Brien became Bill O'Brien the GM, I mean he was touted as one of the best coaches in football. The Bill O'Brien the GM got shit on a lot and kind of ruined his legacy. But yeah, the man was a great offensive coach and great head coach.
if I'm being honest, I doubt he wants to be a GM again.
I doubt he wanted to be a GM in the first place. He was just in a
I don't
shit
think.
show
I
of an
think it was
organization.
just like, yeah, I think he was trying to be pushed. Like someone was trying to push him out, really, and they were like trying to make him look bad.
Yeah.
But, anyways, if I'm the owner,
Did they trade for DeAndre Hopkins in that situation?
wait, what?
If if they hire Bill O'Brien, do they trade for DeAndre Hopkins?
I mean, kind of have to, right?
Yeah, let's just run the whole thing back, boy.
This the band's back together. Like, but if I'm the owner, I'm going after one of Kellen Moore or Ben Johnson. Those are the two
Kellen
names.
Moore?
Yeah.
This Kellen Moore hype train's got to slow down at some point. I don't know when it happens,
Hey,
but
it is week 2, my man. There is nothing set in stone right now. So
he had 3 years in
for
Dallas.
all I know, yeah, but it was under Mike McCarthy, and he's looked solid so far.
Mike McCarthy,
Week 2, that's my answer. But nothing's set in stone because
The
it's
Dallas-
week 2.
the Dallas offense looks light years ahead of what it was under Kellen Moore, though. And Kellen Moore doesn't look great in LA.
I don't know. All I know is that he has a wide open playbook, and he will cater his offense to the players.
I mean, I'm not
the other way
I'm not
around.
a Kellen Moore hater, but I mean, the points haven't really necessarily been there, but they haven't needed to be there, if that makes sense, because it's like the offense has moved fine, and every time it's like we can afford to kick a field goal here because the defense has been so good. But under Kellen Moore, it was like you're either going 3 and out or you're getting a touchdown, to where since Kellen Moore has left, we can sustain drives, keep our defense off the field. And then if we falter in the red zone, it's like, okay, well, it's a 17 play drive at this point. We have the best defense in the league. We'll just kick the field goal. It's fine. Like this offense has been a perfect complement to the defense, to where when Kellen Moore was there, you knew for a fact that you were either going 3 and out or scoring a touchdown. There was no in between.
When did I say
So-
Kellen Moore would be a kick-ass hire? I said if I'm the owner, that makes the most sense to me to go get a guy who's going to run an offense catered to my quarterback and
I'm just
not
saying
the other
there's
way
better-
around.
I'm just saying there's better options than Kellen Moore. That's all I was saying.
Who? Kellen Moore or Ben Johnson? Who's better than that?
Lincoln Riley.
Eh. I'm not risking it on a college head coach. I'm just not.
Lincoln Riley? The quarterback
not.
whisperer?
If I'm saying I have 2 years
Mike
to figure out what
Leach.
Deshaun Watson is, rest in peace, brother.
I would hire Mike Leach before I hired Kellen Moore.
Okay.
And just use a Ouija board to call plays.
Well, that's gonna work. If it's gonna work for anyone, it's gonna be work for Mike Leach. Just like pour a little liquor on his grave and use the Ouija board.
All you have to do is pull out the pirate sword and be like, Leach, what are we doing here? He's 7 wide verticals.
Beautiful. I love it. 7 wide.
Everybody's eligible. All right, we'll move on. Next game we have here is the Chicago Football Bears going to Kansas City. We have the best team in football here in Chicago Bears going into probably the easiest place to win with the Kansas City Football Chiefs. Football divas, you could say at this point, because I mean their star tight end is too caught up in the Taylor Swift drama. Their all-star defensive tackle doesn't seem to care about football. Their two-time MVP quarterback seems to be more worried about his second child on the way. I mean, this seems like an easy cover for the Bears, right? 12.5.
I'm taking Chiefs money line.
What a bold statement.
I'm kidding.
Bold statement by Quentin Crisco on this podcast. Taking Chiefs minus 725. Nobody else in the world is doing it.
Nope. No one's admitting to it.
All right. Well, tell me what you like about this game. 12.5 point spread. Chiefs are favored here. Tell me what you like and what you're taking here.
Over 47.5. I just think there's going to be too many. I think the Chiefs are going to score a lot. I think there's going to be too many possessions and too many garbage time points for this to be over 47.5.
My only worry with that is I think the Chiefs defense is really good. The Chiefs offense really hasn't been able to get things going yet. Week 2 of Travis Kelce in that offense could make a difference. But with the drops and miscommunications in that Chiefs offense, I don't think the Chiefs will have any problems with the Bears in this game. But I think with how good that defense is and with them not being able to get their offense rolling, I could see this being like a 35-3 game and going way under. That's my only objection.
My man.
But I do agree with you.
Baker Mayfield just put up 500 yards on the Bears.
No, yeah, I mean,
and
Chiefs,
they're just Justin Fields and DJ Moore are gonna get some points. Like they're two, and the Chiefs aren't. I don't feel like they're gonna risk like much on defense. Like it's early in the season. Spags tends to go lighter when he can early in the year. I just see garbage time points against soft defenses at the very least.
You don't have to talk me into an over, brother.
Yeah. Like the Bears can score 14. Kansas City will score 35. That's it.
Okay, give me the under in this game.
All right.
Just out of principle. Because you tell me all the time you're going to take unders.
You're right. You are 100% right.
So
the
give me
under
the under in this game.
The over is the fool's bet, and I am a fool this season.
Chris Jones might be the best defense player in football.
He might be, but he ain't going to be playing in the second half.
But he's not Michael Parsons.
He's not.
All right, we'll move on to the New Orleans Saints going to Green Bay at Lambeau. Saints are 2.5 point dogs going up to Wisconsin here. Give me the New Orleans +2 here. I think they're a better coach team. I think they're all around a better football team. Even without any semblance of a running game, I think Derek Carr can get it done. I haven't seen too much out of Jordan Love to make me think that they can just go out there and win this game. I like Saints on the money line here, but I only take spreads on this podcast. So, yeah, give me Saints +2. I mean, I think they're frisky. I think their defense is good. And Michael Thomas looks good. Chris Olave is fucking balling out. If they could get anything out of that running game, I think the Saints could run away with this. But even if not, I think that defense is more than good enough to keep that Packers offense in check with no Aaron Jones. I love the Saints in this game. This might be my favorite bet of the weekend.
I also like the Saints in this game. If that line was a little thicker, I'd be hitting it. But like at 2, I just don't. It doesn't entice me enough. I need to get it to 3. The Packers coming off a brutal loss, going back home. Lambeau's tough to play. I mean, I want
But it's still early in the
New
season.
Orleans,
I mean,
I
Lambeau's
just
going
don't
to be
like to.
Lambeau's going to be 83 degrees. I mean, it's going to be beautiful weather. I mean, granted, I mean the fans will still be there and
The locker rooms will still suck.
the locker rooms will still suck. But weather-wise, that's what I really look at whenever you look at going on the road. Is what's the weather going to be like, and what are the playing conditions going to be like? And I think the conditions are going to be good. And with they're still using Taysom Hill like a crazy Mormon like that he is. So I mean, Taysom Hill can still tear him up on the inside. Derek Carr's look good. I mean, I love the Saints in this spot. Absolutely love them.
I like them. I don't love them. I just, if the crowd is hostile, I lose. Like Derek Carr goes down quite a bit in my book, and that's why I need the 3. You know, that's where I'm at.
No, I got you. I mean, this is me more taking the money line, but I take spreads on the podcast just to make it easier on everybody. But yeah, I mean, this is me taking Saints money line. But we'll move on to our next one. Probably one of the more interesting games of the weekend: the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll get
on me.
Oh yeah, I mean that was on purpose.
Gotta let a brother know, man.
I didn't realize you didn't have that order until we were going down the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have to ask you a question. Is Sean McVay like just the best coach ever, or is Matt Stafford the greatest quarterback of all time?
Sean McVay practices the dark arts. I am convinced that he is just he has sold his soul.
So we're talking about one of the worst rosters in football with the Los Angeles Rams. We're talking about a Matt Stafford that was contemplating retirement, that he went on his wife's podcast talking about how he can't connect with the youth of today. We're talking about a Sean McVay that was at 36 years old, thinking about walking away from the game of football. We're talking about a team that had Aaron Donald walking away from football. And all they've done in the first 2 weeks of the season is absolutely dominate week 1 and almost beat a team that they are 1-6 against, with their only win being in the NFC Championship game, taking them kind of down to the wire. I mean, yeah, they did score late to cover, but that first half of the game, early in that third quarter, the Rams were in it every step of the way. And when you look at those rosters, I mean, there's no way the Rams should have ever been in that game. You have Puka Laduca going for 25 catches and 500 yards in the first 2 weeks of the year. I mean, you have Kyron Williams just rushing his ass off for that team. I mean, they have no offensive line. I don't think if you grabbed every offensive line starter on the Los Angeles Rams right now, I don't know if a single person on that offensive line could start on one NFL team in the league.
Dude, they're starting a rookie second-round pick, 2 UDFAs with limited experience prior to this year, a third-round pick who struggled last year in No Boom, and then who's their 5th starter? Rob Havenstein, the good, faithful pro, who's not all that good, but he's like definitely a capable starter.
So if they completely did, like, if for some reason they were like the Los Angeles Rams are no more, and you completely disbanded the team, and every single one of these players is a free agent, would a single one of their offensive linemen be a starter in the NFL? No.
Their wide receiver with the second most snaps weighs 165 pounds.
Yeah, Tutu Atwell?
Yeah, he's tiny.
He's fun.
Like, you look at their roster, it's like, this doesn't make any sense. And it's just
they gave everything and more to the 49ers after dominating week 1 against what I thought was going to be a very good Seattle team.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Rams-Bengals matchup here with 43.5. With the way Matt Stafford's playing right now, give me over 43.5 here. I don't know who the backup is for Cincinnati if Joe Burrow doesn't play. But with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd in that offense, and that Los Angeles Rams defense, I think this game goes over. Give me over 43.5 here.
Yeah. Who's Cincinnati's backup quarterback?
I just said I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Do you know?
That part. No, I don't. I don't remember.
Oh, I can Google real quick. Let's find out together. Bengals backup QB. Is it Colt McCoy?
Is it?
You want to take bets? That's
I
great.
bet no.
Google doesn't even know. Who's the backup for the Bengals? Jake Browning. Who the fuck is
okay.
Jake Browning?
Good old Jake Browning.
Who could have forgot? Okay, now I have to Google Jake Browning. Okay.
They got Will Greer too. Is he on the active? No, he's on the practice squad. Okay,
I thought
yeah,
he went
Jake
to the
Browning.
Steelers.
Will Greer?
Yeah.
Oh, he's on the Bengals practice squad.
Oh, I thought the Steelers signed him. Okay, who could forget Jake Browning, who played at the University of Washington as a backup for 4 years? Who could forget?
He didn't even start?
Nah.
Oh, boy.
Give me the over. I don't care. All right. We'll move on to the next game of the season or the next game of the week. And we're talking the best team in football, the Arizona Football Cardinals. Who's their head coach? Pew, pew, pew,
Gannon. Jonathan
Richard Gannon. Dick Gannon as the head coach. Taking shots as a defensive guy. Because that's what defensive guys love more than anything is taking shots downfield to their 5'4" star wide receiver going against the lowly, pathetic Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I love the Cowboys in this spot going against the mighty Cardinals. I mean, I know they got a lot of talent on that Arizona team. I know Jonathan Gannon's going to be taking shots down to Hollywood Brown. But I mean, I just got a hunch that I think Dallas can get it done here going on the road and cover it in this tough spot. Because, I mean, you look at this Dallas team and I think most of the defensive players could start on offense for the Arizona Cardinals.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm on Dallas. It's a terrible bet, and I don't care. Dallas minus 12.5.
How many? Okay, hypothetical. How many positions on Arizona's offense could Micah Parsons start at? At least 3. Tight end.
Yeah. Tight end,
Maybe.
running back, and maybe a wide receiver.
Yeah. Maybe tackle.
Fullback.
Well, definitely fullback.
Yeah. He wouldn't start at tackle. They're actually pretty good at tackle.
They are good at tackle. Their offensive line is actually pretty decent.
They're probably
And,
the best O-line Dallas has faced yet this year.
Yeah. Josh Dobbs is a quarterback.
That he is. He throws the football.
He's definitely a quarterback. But no, if Arizona runs the ball, I'm like both weeks so far, like I said earlier in the podcast, if the Jets and the Giants would have just been like, I'm okay with being down 14-0, 15-0, 21-0. I'm just gonna keep running the ball because we're having success. I think both teams could have stopped the bleeding, but both teams just completely gave up on the run altogether and embarrassed themselves. I'm not saying I don't think either one of the teams could have won, but they could have had a much more respectable score if they would have just stuck to the run. I mean, Breece Hall got 4 carries against Dallas.
Yeah.
After the first drive in Dallas, Saquon had 3 carries after the first drive, week 1. After a lot of success on the first drive. Like, I'm terrified for the team that's just like, okay, you may be up 14-0 because you got a pick 6 and a whatever else, but we're just going to keep running the ball. And that's what terrifies me when Mike McCarthy has a 14-point lead and then he goes 3 and out, and then they get a touchdown, and they're like, "Hey, what if we just keep running the ball?" And then they score again, and then it's 14-0, and then we're like, "How did we go from 14-0 in the first 3 minutes of the game to tied 14-14 at halftime?" And then the other team's like, "Oh, we can still run the ball." Like that terrifies me. But just the idea of saying it out loud terrifies me. But as of right now, 2 weeks into the season, yeah, please give up on the run 1.5 drives into the game, because if you try to throw the ball on this team, you're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'd be interested to see how Mozzie Smith works out in that scenario. Like, because that's his job, right?
He hasn't looked great yet.
Yeah, but teams stop running the football.
Exactly. Yeah, don't really have a whole lot of sample size. Like that, it's one of those things where it's like early in the game, but also when you think about it, it's like early in the game is like the best the best an offense is going to look is like in the first 10 plays.
Every O-line, like every time I watch an O-line, they all look really good the first drive, and it's like it just slowly keeps going downhill throughout the game.
Because I mean, all they do is study the 10-play script, and then from there they adjust and see what's working, what's not working.
As a defensive player, you're not showing your best stuff in the first quarter. You know,
exactly.
you're feeling it out.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm way too optimistic about this Cowboys team. I've never been this high on the Cowboys, and I'm just ready for heartbreak. But find me a team in the last 20 years that looks as good as this Cowboys defense looks, with an offense that I'm not even going to say this offense is good. I'm just going to say this offense is serviceable, which I think is an understatement to the offense. But find me a team that has looked this complete in the past 15 years. I'm not a delusional Cowboys fan by any means whatsoever. You know that. You know I'm like the most honest Cowboys fan you've ever met. And it pains me to say that it's Super Bowl bust at this point. Like, this team is fucking good.
This roster is Super Bowl or bust. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, and I mean, we play the 49ers week 5, so we'll see. A lot of people are saying Brock Purdy is the first like real quarterback we play. Brock Purdy's not good. He hasn't looked good this season. Like, I don't know where people are getting in their mind that Brock Purdy's good. He's serviceable. He does everything that Kyle Shanahan wants him to do. But if we're putting Brock Purdy in the good category of quarterbacks, it is not a good quarterback crop.
That's what I'm saying. Top 10 quarterback ain't what it used to be. Like, it's like there's a huge drop off around like 6-7, where it's just like, oh, these guys are top 10 now.
If we're putting Brock Purdy in the good quarterback category, then what is Josh Allen? Because I would say Josh Allen's much better than Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Josh Allen is much better than Brock Purdy.
Okay. And Josh Allen is what, top 8?
Easily.
So Brock Purdy's what, 16?
Somewhere between 9 and 16.
It's ridiculous the amount of love Brock Purdy gets. Brock Purdy's fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here like shitting on what he's done, but like people act like he's fucking a top 10 quarterback. He's not.
I haven't watched enough of him this year to like even comment on it, but like if it's the same as it was last year, it's like good numbers, got a little swag to him that makes him more marketable, but like
he runs the offense fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's Jimmy G with a little swag.
Brandon Ayuk might be one of the best receivers in football, and he's the only person on their offense that the 49ers refuse to pay. And Debo, I hate to break it to 49ers fans, but Debo may not be what you think Debo is. And that could come back to haunt you big time.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'll ask you. How good is Debo Samuel?
He's really fucking good in his role.
What is his role? Half quarterback, half
weapon,
or half wide receiver, half like. But I mean, he wasn't good last year. He had a good
Well,
week last week.
he's good. He's really good when he's healthy. It's just, health has always been the issue. Like when he's healthy, he is a monster with the football in his hands.
I mean, is he worth being at the upper echelon of paid offensive talent in the league? I would say no.
Probably not because of his health issues, but I need to see what his contract looks like. I don't know. Like it might be a pretty easy contract to get out of, which makes it easy to
Yeah, NFL contracts are weird because I know we get paid a shit ton of money, but I don't know how much of that shit ton is actually legit or not. So you could be right there.
Like if they can just wash their hands of him if he has a career-ending injury or like just can't stay healthy anymore, that's an easy decision.
But to me, Ayuk is
Ayuk
is the guy. Ayuk is like he's gonna be a Cowboy next year.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but he's gonna be somewhere really good.
Where else would he go? Cowboys have so much fucking cap space, even after the Micah Parsons contract that is ensuing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where else he'd go. I don't know the landscape of free agency for next year.
Yeah. All right, we'll get on the college picks here. We'll run through these pretty quick. We don't really take too much time on college. So starting off, I'll take Clemson money line versus Florida State. Clemson's at home, plus 120 dogs. They haven't lost to Florida State in 6 years. They've been the cream of the crop in the ACC. They don't look great this year. Give me the juice. Give me Clemson. I think they can get it done here.
I thought about taking that. I like that one.
Going on, we have Cincy versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is absolutely bullied every little brother school they played so far. I think Cincy has looked a lot better than I thought they would. I thought Cincy would be one of the worst teams in the Big 12. I think they have played better than I had predicted. So give me Cincy plus 14.5 in this spot. I like that play a lot. Next up, I have Oregon minus 21 versus Colorado. I'm going against Deion. Everybody's been on Deion's dick this whole time. I love Deion Sanders, don't get me wrong, but no Travis Hunter in this game. Travis Hunter might be the best player in college football. And when you lose the best player in college football with a questionable roster against a true top 10 team, which TCU was not whenever they beat TCU, don't get it twisted. TCU wasn't good. So give me Oregon minus 21 versus Colorado with no Travis Hunter. Next up, I forgot who this team is playing. Give me UConn plus 21.5. Who's UConn playing?
I don't keep up with the Huskies football program,
I had it written down. Okay, I'll get it for you here shortly. But yeah, give me UConn plus 21.5. Then I have Notre Dame plus 3.5 versus Ohio State. I love Notre Dame this season. I think they can get it done.
Duke.
Yeah, Duke. Okay, I knew that. Yeah, I love Notre Dame in this spot versus Ohio State. I think Notre Dame is one of the best teams in the country. I think they're going to make college football playoff this year. They have a super tough schedule. They have to beat one of these big name teams. I think they play USC later in the season. I think they have another SEC opponent on the schedule as well. So they have to win one of them. I think this is the one they get. I don't think Ohio State's firing on all cylinders yet. So definitely give me Notre Dame plus 3.5 at home versus Ohio State in this spot. That stadium is going to be rocking in South Bend. Indiana is going to be absolutely popping. Give me Notre Dame in that spot. And then my last bet, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know, it's USC. It's the over 62. They may get it by themselves. They're playing Arizona State. Give me the over 62 in that.
It's been a good bet so far this year. So my college picks, starting off, Wisconsin at Purdue. Purdue hasn't covered at home since 2021. Give me Wisconsin minus 5.5. Texas Tech going to Morgantown, to West Virginia. West Virginia coming off an emotional win, backyard brawl against Pitt. Give me Texas Tech minus 6.5. I just think they're a much better team, and West Virginia's probably a little emotionally spent after that win. App State going up to the high altitude of Wyoming, which I did not realize was so high up there until Texas Tech lost there. Yes, Texas Tech lost at Wyoming, and Appalachian State's going to too. Give me Wyoming minus 2.5. And then
Wyoming almost beat Texas and Texas too, by the way. That game went down to the wire. Wyoming's a good football team.
yeah, I think Wyoming's gonna easily cover that 2.5. Minnesota going to the homeland, to Chicago, to play Northwestern. Northwestern is a shell of a football program right now. They have not kept a game within single digits. Give me Minnesota minus 11.5. And then we have the Ohio State going to South Bend. Not a far drive. To the Golden Domers. 3-point spread. But the Irish are feeling lucky. Give me Notre Dame plus 3.
Love it. Love. I hate how much I love that Notre Dame pick.
I know. I do. I was staring. I was like, I was like, I can't take money line. I can't take money line, but I can take plus 3.
They're good, man. Notre Dame's
I
good.
know.
And Ohio State hasn't put it together
Ohio
yet.
State's quarterback is just not. I am not impressed so far.
Yeah. Kyle McCord
Penn
hasn't
State's
looked great.
quarterback. I like Penn State's quarterback.
Yeah, Drew Aller. I'm not like Penn State to win that Big Ten. We'll see. But that's gonna be it for the week. Monster college slate this weekend. We'll talk about it next week. But do you have anything else?
Wreck 'em, brother. Texas Tech is back this week after a sabbatical to
West Virginia, baby.
to destroy Tarleton State last week. We're back
Hey.
on it. We are no longer the best winless team in college football.
Nobody thought we could beat Tarleton State. Everybody doubted us. And all we did was go out there and beat the brakes off them boys in Stephenville, Texas. So all I got to say is wreck 'em, Tech boys. And don't sleep on them Houston Texans.
Don't do it.